Welcome back to Ty Sports Picks 24. I'm going to say it again. Ty Sports Picks 24. Good morning, or good afternoon. Almost we're a little late today. It's going to be Tuesday, August 13th. I hope you guys made some money yesterday. I'm going to hit you all with the picks so we can get to the show topic. The show topic, Miami versus Florida. Let's light the fire. Let's get it going. It's a little bit too quiet. The coach is trying to keep it quiet. They're trying to keep it peaceful. They're trying to stay focused. And I totally agree. But for the fans, for the media, that's not our job. It's all about hate. August 31st. But let's get to these picks. MLB picks for today. We got Cincinnati Reds money line. We got New York Yankees money line. Atlanta Braves money line. New York Mets money line. Houston money line. If you don't remember the picks, they're always in the description, along with the Cash App and the Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, which is at TY Picks. I'm sorry, at TY Sports Picks 24. At TY Sports Picks 24. And the Instagram is $TY Rebel 22 is at the bottom line. You can see it at the bottom. You see the Cash App. And then you see the Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, which is at TY Sports Picks 24. The Cash App is $TY Rebel 22. Please donate so the channel can grow. No, we're not begging. This is YouTube for all of you guys that are older that don't understand, because I had some older people asking why is that normal. Yes. If you go on YouTube, you see podcasts, this is a normal thing. We're an independent channel. We're not trying to be owned by any kind of label or channel. We're trying to grow on our own. So we thank you for the donations. We'll start having ads as we grow. Okay, so now the topic of the day. Well, I'm going to leave the picks up for a second, but we're going to move along because we got a lot to talk about. It's action-packed. This is a big topic. You know, we're talking about alumni. We're talking about recruits. We're talking about current players. We even talk about the coaching staffs, you know, and just how this rivalry is getting rekindled and the fire is getting relit. Okay, I think that's enough time. If not, the picks are always in the description. I may bring them back at the end. Cincinnati Reds, Yankees, Braves, Mets, and the Astros. Now let's get to the topic. The Florida Gators. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Miami Hurricanes versus Florida Gators, August 31st, 3:30 p.m. on ABC at the Swamp, at the University of Florida, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Now, I'm not going to play it because I'm not sure about the copyright rules on YouTube. I don't want to go through that. But Ja'Cory Harris, the famous Miami Northwestern, Miami Hurricane quarterback, he's a nice guy from what I've heard and what I've seen. One time I met him, he's always been a gentleman as far as I know. But even he was taken aback by Graham Mertz, the University of Florida's quarterback. He made a comment about Graham Mertz wearing 15, saying, "Why are you wearing that? That's Tim Tebow's number. Are you even, up to that level?" Maybe Graham is. Maybe we'll find out this year. Graham actually, with a bad team around him, with a bad offensive line, I won't say the whole team was bad. He has a first-round receiver and a possible draft pick in a freshman that was all SEC or all freshmen, and Trey Wilson, along with Ricky Pearsall, that was the first-round pick for the 49ers. So he did have some weapons, even though Arlis Borningham, his tight end, was hurt off and on throughout the year. But the Gators do have an arsenal as long as they can block for them. They brought in a lot of transfers. But let's just get to the main topic of this rivalry, man, because there's a lot going on. But Ja'Cory Harris was on the Momentum podcast, which has kind of lost its momentum since they brought on Nevin Shapiro, which is basically a guy that brought down the Hurricane program intentionally or unintentionally, similar to the FTX thing with the Miami Heat. It seems like a lot of scammers get involved with Miami sports, so we got to watch who we deal with. But basically, this guy Nevin Shapiro came on the Momentum podcast, and ever since then, and then the issue with Ja'Cory Brown, it seems like Mario Cristobal is not really kind to Miami Hurricanes going on that podcast, and I agree. I think that podcast, it was cool, but you got to choose a side sometimes, man. I understand you want to do interviews, but don't bring people on that make the program look bad, or at least edit it out. You're not going live like me. Like me, I'm live, but even then, I can go back and edit things if they're inappropriate, or at least apologize. But as far as the Florida Gators, they got a lot of weapons. They have Shamir DK that was with Graham Mertz at Wisconsin. They also have Elijah Badger, all big big, Pac-12 receiver out of Arizona State. Remember, Ricky Pearsall was originally from Arizona State. They did 2 years at Florida, and now Elijah Badger is going to have 1 year eligibility at Florida, and he's looking like a possibly a first day or second day draft pick. 6'2". It says 190. He looks a little bit more like on the 200 pounds, maybe 210. He's a big guy. I don't know about this 190. Sometimes the media guys are outdated. Got Eugene Wilson, that's number 3. Then you also have Aiden Mizell, redshirt freshman. Andy Jean from Miami Northwestern, he's a Bull. I'm a baby Bull, Gwent Cherry. I didn't go to Northwestern, so don't get it confused. But they're saying that these guys are doing great things, along with Tank Hawkins, which is a track guy. I believe he went to IMG, a short guy, but he has blazing speed, runs like a 10-4 and 100. So the Gators have some firepower. But let's get back to Graham Mertz and Ja'Cory Harris. Graham Mertz met Ja'Cory Harris at Prime 112 with Brandon Spikes, which is an alumni from that old Tim Tebow's Gators team. He's a Gators legend. Ja'Cory's a Hurricane legend to some. Some may say no. I say yeah, because he did the best he could in a bad situation. But long story short, Ja'Cory being a gentleman, just try to hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You ready for the game? And Graham Mertz is like, why do I got to get ready for a sorry team like Miami? So Ja'Cory, being a gentleman, he not like the average Hurricane where he going to pop back at him. He like, but it did bother Ja'Cory because he went on the interview and he brought it up. So we lighting that fire because I had to really go and look for this interview. I'm like, hold up. I went on YouTube. I typed in Graham Mertz, Ja'Cory is nowhere. And I don't know, Cristobal got his goons out there. I know like Jay-Z and Beyonce, when a picture go out of inappropriate, they get it taken down off the internet. I don't know if Miami got it taken down or Florida got it taken down, but I found it. Yeah. But I'm not going to play it. But it's still there. It's definitely still there. If you think I'm lying, hold on. Let me see if I can show you a picture. Here it is right here. So you can listen to it on your own. I'm not going to play it, but you see the Momentum podcast. So, yes, it's definitely proof. That definitely happened. Graham Mertz definitely, had some words about the Hurricanes. And that's perfectly fine because I'm all Florida in the whole SEC, the state of Florida. So Miami first, but, Florida State, UCF, South Florida, Florida Gators, because I understand when they were at their height, all of them were winning. People don't understand. A lot of Hurricane fans, Florida State fans, like, oh, I want them to lose all their games. No, you don't. That's your stricter schedule. And 9 times out of 10 with this transfer portal, if the kid goes to Florida State, it doesn't work out, he might want to stay home. He goes to Miami, goes to Florida, goes to FIU. I want the whole state to be strong. That's how the SEC got strong because Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss, everybody's good. In the 80s and the 90s, the whole state was good. It's like Dade County, Broward football, St. Thomas, Northwestern. They feed off each other. You don't want to play sorry teams. So we want this rivalry back rekindled. And another thing, a lot of young people, including myself, because they were saying that this Florida rivalry is more important to some people than the Florida State rivalry, which I disagree with. I think it's a little bit less. I think it's Florida State, then Florida, then Virginia Tech, and then Nebraska's, Notre Dame's, everything for Miami. And, for Florida, it's the, I say Florida State, then Miami, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, so on and so on. But long story short, I want this rivalry to be either a yearly thing or every 2 years. I'm even, you're going to say I'm crazy, I'm even willing to give up the Florida State game. And 1 year you play Florida State, 1 year you play Florida. 1 year, but you can't do that because we're in the same conference for now, unless Florida State goes to the Big 12, which that's another conversation. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Florida State and Miami will ever separate. But long story short, the governor had to make Florida even play Florida State because they were ducking them, saying that, oh, we got a hard schedule in the SEC, this, that, and the third. Okay, but you let's play Utah. I seen you play Michigan the first game of the season. Like, come on, that's cap. Stop ducking your in-state rivals. We need a real state champ. We need to know because there's recruits, specifically Ben Hanks Jr. He goes to Miami Booker T, which is a pipeline on the Miami Hurricanes. The big guys from Booker T always go to Miami Hurricanes. Brandon Harris, we all know about Major 9, Chad Thomas, so on and so on. I think I can't think of the dude's name, Johnson, back in the day on the same team with Harris, the wide receiver. They also had the dude Duran Collier. They called him Pimp. I'm sorry if I messed up your name, dog. But it's a long line of Booker T guys going to the Miami Hurricanes and doing big things. Even Tim Harris, the track guy and the running back coach, Coach Ice Harris, coached at Miami several different times. You know what I mean? So Booker T is a big Miami Hurricane school. My grandmother actually went from Booker T to Miami Hurricanes. So this is a real thing. You know what I mean? That's a great academic school and a great athletic school. Even though it's in the hood, you got a lot of smart people. I got a cousin that works in the hospital, went to Booker T. So even though they hood and Overtown, they are smart people and they love the University of Miami. But I will say this. Ben Hanks Sr. is a Gator. So if the Gators win, can he convince his son to commit to Miami? Because actually, to commit to Florida. Because actually, let me look it up. Because a lot of the Booker T alumni have been talking about this. Where's Ben Hanks gonna go? I'm not sure. I think Ben Hanks may commit before the game, but I'm sure he's gonna be there. I know DJ Pickens, which put a switcheroo on Miami and Florida State and chose LSU. A lot of people feel like he only took the money because, you know, they're giving out NIL just for commitment. Some schools are doing that. You know, they feel like he might switch to Miami if Miami wins because there's a lot of guys. Jamie French, the 5-star that's committing, I think the day before, August 30th, which is weird. Why are they rushing him before? But Jamie French might go to Florida, might go to Miami. A lot of these kids are watching to see if these programs are going to bounce back. Now, 24/7 has Ben Hanks, no Miami I'll say Miami Hurricanes, Miami Booker T. They got him predicted. They got him 100% Gators. Can you see that? Yeah, I don't have the technology to pull it up double screen yet. But, you know, Miami, Georgia, Florida, those are some of his top teams. He visited Miami on June 21st. He visited Florida on June 7th. He visited Georgia on June 14th. So he taking all his visits. And I don't mind that because they give you the 5-star restaurants, 5-star hotels, Ritz-Carlton, the W. These is places you may not even stay in as an actual player unless you spending on your own dime because, you know, they got that NIL. And I'm sure with him being an alumni son, he going to get treated well in Gainesville. That's maybe what his dad is telling him. Because his dad, from what I understand, didn't go to Booker T. He's from Overtown, but he was in that little gap when Booker T was in middle school and all the Overtown guys went to Jackson and Miami High. So I don't really think Ben Hanks Sr. has an allegiance to that Booker T to University of Miami pipeline. So grandma and the rest of the alumni, Mr. George, all you people watching, y'all need to go talk to Ben Hanks Sr. and tell him, please, we need your son at the Miami Hurricanes. Off of the Gators, y'all might need to tell Mr. Hanks, we need your son at the Gators. Off of Georgia, you know, it is what it is. But Ben Hanks is just uncommitted. But even the guys that are committed to Miami, committed to Florida, might flip. Because you got Vernell Brown. His father went to the Gators. His finalist was Gators in Miami. And he chose to go with his father's school because his grandfather and his father. So Vernell Brown, the first, the second, and now the third. So the third is committed. The first and the second already played at the Gators. And, you know, he really likes Miami because his quarterback from his same school is actually committed for Miami for 26 class. Now, Vernell Brown and Ben Hanks are 25 recruits. So 2024, 2025. So it's a lot going on with this game. It's not just winning on the field. You're winning in recruiting. Then you got a lot of alumni that remember this game. Like the history of this rivalry goes all the way back to the 80s and even further back because it's a lot of bragging rights. You know, that first Miami Hurricanes national championship, they actually had a loss. They were not undefeated. And does anybody know who they lost to that year? You know, I give you time to think. Maybe put it in the comment section. You know, if you're watching live, you can put it in the chat. But guess what? If we go to the history, in 1983, I believe, that's the first Miami Hurricanes national championship. They lost to Florida. They got blowed out in Gainesville, 28-3, and went on to run the table and beat Nebraska in the national championship. But ever since then, you know, it's been a whole lot of green and not a lot of blue in the winning. You know, you can go look it up. You know, all the history, you see all that green, that's the Hurricanes winning. The blue is the Gators winning. You know, so in more recent years, 2019, because they got a 5-year thing. That's what the governor put in place now. But we need closer to 5 years. He mandated it, I believe, whoever mandated it, that the Gators of Miami must play at least once every 5 years. They played in 2019. The Gators won 24-20 in Orlando. That was a neutral site. They played in 2013. Miami won in Miami 21-16. They played in 2008, and the Gators won 26-3 in Gainesville. They played in a bowl game in 2004, and that was Miami winning 27-10. They played in Miami in 2003. when Miami came back from behind because the Gators had a big lead and they won 38-33 in 2003. They went up to Gainesville. So this is the last time Miami went to Gainesville and won. They went up to Gainesville and beat the Gators in 2002, 41-16. Okay, 2000 in the Sugar Bowl, the Miami beat them 37-20. And prior to 2000 Sugar Bowl, they didn't play each other until going all the way back to September 5th of 1987. So the Gators were ducking these people. And I'm not a Gator hater. I love the Gators. But you can't really say nothing to Florida State until you play Miami every year. And I understand, yeah, they play the SEC schedule. I come from the SEC. Okay, fine. But Alabama always playing Clemson or Virginia Tech or somebody, Louisville, the first game of the season. Beginning of this year, LSU was playing USC. Stop ducking the competition, baby. Florida and Miami should be playing every year. Florida and Miami should be playing every year. We should not have a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year span where the Florida Gators and the Miami Hurricanes are not playing. And as far as the 87 game, the 86 game, Miami won. In 85, Florida came to Miami and actually won 35-23. In 86, it was 23-15 Miami. In 87, it was 31-4 Miami. So maybe because Miami has won out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Out of the last 10 matchups, Miami has won 7 and the Gators have only won 3. So look at it. Out of the last 10 times, you see 3 blue and you see 7 green. So maybe that's why Florida doesn't want to play Miami. And I'm not being biased. I love all of Florida, but Miami Hurricanes have been getting the best of you guys. And there's a lot of recruits that don't know that. But if their parents get in their ear like, hey, you want to go to the better school. You want to go to the U. And not to mention, we were talking about it and they brought it up again with Coach JB show with the graduation rates. This is something both of you guys can brag on. And I'm not a Florida State hater. I know my sister went to Florida State. Shout out to you. But look at the graduation rates. I don't know if you guys can see that. But they did a list of college football Power 5 programs with graduation rates. So who actually graduating the most players? The Gators are the highest with 92% out of the state of Florida schools. Then you got UCF 89. Then you got Miami at 87. But Florida State is all the way down at the bottom, baby, at 69% of their football players graduating. So if you're going out recruiting Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal, and you can bring that up to a parent like, hey, if your kid comes to Miami, it's an 87% chance that they'll get a Miami degree. Now, what the Miami alumni will say is Miami's a private school. It's harder curriculum. You know, maybe everybody can't, academically hang, and that's why they're 87%. But Florida is the #1 ranked academic public school. Public school is not a private, because when you talk about the private schools, it's higher academics. But as far as public school, that's the best public school education you can get in the whole country. So people saying that, oh, we're in the South, we're stupid, we're slow, not the University of Florida. All these high rises in Miami, all these people in Fort Lauderdale that are running these businesses, a lot of them are University of Florida graduates. I got some neighbors. You see the Gator tags all through the neighborhood, and if they're not Gators, then they Hurricanes. You see some Florida State, but a lot of people that go to Florida State, they got county jobs. Yeah, I'm throwing shade. Yeah, I'm throwing shots at Florida State. Yeah, because I ain't go there. No, I'm playing. I love the nose too. But this is about the Hurricanes in Florida, because people are saying that this is the #1 rivalry. I wasn't aware of that. I grew up on Florida State and Miami, but you want to know why? Because between 2000 and 87, the Gators were ducking Miami. So I think the governor, we need to call the National Guard, President Kamala Harris, President Trump. If you get in office, will you make the Gators play Miami every year? We don't want Graham Mertz to be talking to Ja'Cory Harris and Prime 112. And speaking of talking, Cam Ward is the #1 trash talker on the Hurricanes team. He said nothing about the Gators. Now, I think it's a gag order. I think Mario Cristobal, coming from Nick Saban and just coming from the old school, because they asked him about the Gators. He refused to talk about it. He said, we're focused on the Hurricanes. And as time go on, we'll get to that. They asked Billy Napier about Miami and just about the schedule in general, because a lot of people are predicting the Gators to only win 4.5 games. So you should bet the over on that. You're going to make a lot of money. The Gators will win 8 games this year. They will not win only 4 games. So that's easy money. That's like you stealing. Get on Bet Online, get on Hard Rock, on Prize Picks, anything where you can bet. In Florida, you can only bet on Hard Rock. Bet the Gators over 4.5 games. They are not going to win only 4 games. But I didn't predict them to win this Miami game. But I like both teams. But let's move on. Washington Huskies. Now, it's up in Seattle. That's a team that Miami don't like because that's why they didn't go to the 2000 championship, because the Washington Huskies beat them. They just went to the national championship. They sent Mish Powell, their safety, to Miami. Well, they didn't send him, but he hopped in the portal. But let's focus on Washington. They have the former Mississippi State quarterback through the transfer portal. They also have Jed Fish, a former Miami Hurricane offensive coordinator. And I'm not trying to make this all about Miami. I'm just saying this is stuff that a lot of Florida fans or Miami fans may not know about Washington. But they're in the Big Ten now, and they have a lot of good coaches on their coaching staff. They have Pete Carroll from the Seattle Seahawks. He's helping out a little bit. And they also have Bill Belichick from the New England Patriots around because his son is, I believe, the DB coach or the defensive coordinator. Remember, his son is the reason why Malcolm Butler couldn't play in that Super Bowl where they lost to the Eagles, because it was a back and forth between Malcolm Butler and I believe his name is Steve Belichick. I called him Bill Belichick Jr. He's not a junior. It's Steve Belichick. But Washington Huskies, even though they lost a lot of players to Alabama because their coaches at Alabama from last year, they got a lot of players from Arizona because they have Arizona's coach from last year. And they also have a big-time SEC award winning and record-breaking quarterback from Mississippi State. You know, they got a lot of recruits because Washington was doing well last year. So people want to see what's the influence of all these NFL coaches being on the Washington staff. What's the influence of having a quarterback with all the accolades that they have? You know, they got Desmond Williams. He's a transfer from Arizona. He was a 4-star, but he's a recruit. He's just going to be learning. But Will Rogers is the guy that you need to worry about. He did a lot of damage at Mississippi State. What will he do in the West Coast? What will he do with that Husky line that the Huskies have? Because they still got a lot of firepower. You know, but I want to see what Washington's going to do this year. They were in the national championship, and now they're not even ranked, which I feel like I disagree with that. You know, get in the comment section and let me know if you agree or disagree. And speaking of rankings, right, last week we had the AP poll. Now we got the coaches poll. So that's my topic of today. It's going to be the top 25. Now, for you guys that don't know what the top 25 is, let me run it off. We got Georgia, then Ohio State, then Oregon, then Texas, then Alabama, Mississippi, which is Ole Miss. You got Notre Dame, Michigan, Penn State, Florida State, Missouri, Louisiana State, which is LSU, Utah, Clemson, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Miami, Texas A&M, Arizona, North Carolina State, USC, and Kansas and Iowa. So I'm going to bring it up for you guys. So that's the top 25 AP. That's the top 25. You can see it. And pretty much the coach poll and the AP poll, for whatever reason, they're almost identical. Also, speaking of top 25s, we're going to get to this. The HBCU rankings have FAMU as number 5, but the official FCS rankings, FAMU, I believe, is the only HBCU that's ranked at 25. So it seems like the FCS is showing FAMU love, but the HBCUs, you know, they hating on FAMU. So shout out to my mom, shout out to some of my aunties, you know, a lot of those people that went to FAMU, Rattler Strike. You guys are ranked, so don't let them tell you that you're number 5. You might be number 5 in the HBCUs, the SWAC and the MEAC, but you're number 25 in the nation. And you're going to be on live television August 24th. But back to what I was talking about with the FBS top 25. The first team out in the coach poll is Washington, that we were just speaking of. They're a team that I think may have been snubbed. Louisville might be ranked this year. They're not ranked yet. Virginia Tech is the team to watch out for. Memphis, because you know, one group of 5 team is going to be inside the 12-team playoff. And we're going to go back to that because I'm going to talk about that in my next topic with the SEC. Also, Boise State not ranked. Auburn, I don't know about Auburn. I think they shouldn't be ranked. You got Florida. I wouldn't rank Florida, but I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the year they're ranked, probably towards November, October. Other than that, I don't have a problem. I see Texas Tech, Nebraska. Yeah, all the rest of them have to earn it. Let me go to the AP poll. Okay, yeah, same teams. Virginia Tech, Louisville, maybe Washington. I'll just say Virginia Tech and Louisville are the only teams I think that got snubbed, that got left out, that maybe could have went in instead of an Iowa or a USC. But pretty much the top 25 I think is okay. But now let's get to the next topic. SEC. 5 SEC teams in the college football playoff. I'm an SEC guy, but I don't believe that's fair. Every Power 5 conference gets their conference champion. So that's the 1, 2, 3, and 4 spots. That means SEC champ, Big 10 champ, Big 12 champ, ACC champ. So now that leaves 8 spots, but really only 7 spots, because the Group of 5 champ, which is a non-power conference, that would be like the Boise States or the Liberties or the Memphis or even South Florida, Tulane. The top-ranked Group of 5 gets in at the 12 spot. So spots 11 through 5 are going to be the highest-ranked Power 5 teams that did not win their conference. So you're telling me SEC gets their champ, and then you want number 5 all the way to what? 5, 6, 7, 8. You want all that to be SEC teams? No, we're not doing that. Win your conference. If you don't win your conference, then maybe the runner-up, unless they get blowed out in the conference championship, because there's no divisions in conferences no more. So the top 2 teams already go to the conference championship. So that's almost like a part of the playoff. So I feel like, I believe all of these Power 5 conferences should have at least 2 teams in the college football playoff. I don't want to see 5 SEC teams. I want to see 3 to 4 at the most. I only want to see 3 Big 10 teams. And I'm going to tell you why. We just had 2 SEC teams, if you count Texas, in the playoff, and both of them got knocked out first round. And I love the SEC. I'm not hating on the SEC. My thing is the SEC has good teams at the top. If you look at the top 25, Georgia's 1. Texas at 4. Then you got Alabama 5. Ole Miss 6. Then you got LSU at 13. I don't know if I skipped anybody. You got Missouri at 11. You got Tennessee 15. Oklahoma 16. Texas A&M 20. But the thing about it is they're going to play each other in the regular season. You all wanted to join the SEC, Texas and Oklahoma. Everybody want to pile up in the same conference. Nobody wants to see you guys play each other 2 and 3 times a year. You already played. We already saw that game. Once you guys win your conference or lose your conference, I feel like the top 2 teams from every conference should get in. I'm not even going to say that. I feel like depending on how the conference runner-up plays, they may or may not get in. Because if you get blowed out in the Big 12 championship, then maybe we'll take the 3rd or 4th team in the Big 12, depending on their record. But I just want the best teams from 5 to 11, whoever they may be. Now, if they're SEC teams, fine. But I feel like you water it down when you let a 5th rank or 4th ranked SEC team get in over the 2nd ranked ACC or the 2nd ranked Big 10 or Big 12 team, because just because you're SEC does not mean you're the cream of the crop. We do have the cream of the crop, but we have to keep our credibility. You can't just be biased and let every SEC team in. That's why I think we had 2 teams and both of them lost first round, because SEC has to be maintained. It's not like just because you're the SEC, you're good. SEC was built on competition. Let them compete. If they know that 5 teams are getting in the playoffs, they may not fight as hard. But if they know you got to be one of those 2 or 3 teams or 4 teams, they're going to fight every game. And that's also going to make the other conferences fight every game, because I may not win the Big 12, but I can still get in as the runner-up. I may not win the ACC or the Big 10, but I can get in as that 3rd team, especially with the ACC, because they got a lot of teams ranked. You got Clemson, you got Miami, you got NC State, you got Florida State. You possibly have Louisville or SMU or Virginia Tech. So you telling me only one of them teams deserve to go to the playoff? Big 12, you got Utah, you got Kansas State, Oklahoma State, you got Kansas, you got I think I said all of the top Big 12 teams. A lot of people talk about TCU and UCF making a bounce back. Then you got Coach Prime with Colorado. I ain't hard to find. You guys saw my Coach Prime video yesterday. I just feel like, and then Notre Dame. So actually, you have the 4 conference champions in the Power 5. Then you have the Group of 5 champion. So that takes away 5 spots. And then Notre Dame, even though they're not Power 5, they're considered Power 5 on their own. So if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12, Notre Dame takes a spot. So really, you got a choice between spot 5 and spot 10. because 12 and 11 go to Notre Dame in the Group of 5 champ. And the technicality is team 5 to team 5, 6, 7, and 8, they get a home game first round because the first round bye is going to be for the conference champions. They just get to choose to go to the bowl game that's closest to them, like the Orange Bowl, Peach Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl. I would love to go to the Rose Bowl to see somebody, but Miami's probably going to go to the Orange Bowl. But I'll say this. It's going to be an interesting season. I want all conferences to be involved and fight to the end. We don't know who's going to win. I hear a lot of SEC people saying, oh, it's no point because these other conferences can't compete. If you watch football, if you watch pro football, because, you know, with NIL, they're making the college like pro football, we see wild card teams beat teams with a bye all the time. We've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Giants make it in 10-6, 9-7, and win the Super Bowl. Ask the 2007 Patriots. Just because you have the best talent does not mean you're going to win in the playoff. Even in high school, I know this is college, but the Miami Northwestern Bulls, their last couple of championships, they barely made it to the playoffs, and then they would beat Miami Central, a nationally ranked team, when Miami Northwestern was like 6-4 or 5-5 getting to the playoff. So you can't say on paper that you're better. You got to win it on the field. And I don't have any type of sympathy for SEC teams, even though I love the SEC, because we got to maintain this sport. It's not just about one conference. You know, when I grew up, it was Nebraska, it was USC, it was Florida, it was Florida State, it was Alabama. I didn't want to see just one conference. That's boring, bro. This is not SEC football, it's college football. SEC is the cream of the crop, but we want to see the whole sport. You know, that boosts the TV ratings, that boosts the sport, and that just helps it grow. And with the transfer portal, even if they get the best recruits in the SEC, some of these guys transfer out and go to Ohio State. Ohio State got a lot of Alabama players this year, like 2-3 of them. You know, Miami got some guys from Alabama last year. So guys move around. I just want to see the best product on the field. That's going to be my show for today. For you guys that didn't see the picks earlier, let me go back to them. And remember to donate to the Cash App so the channel can grow, whether it be the suits, whether it be the mic, the StreamYard, which gives you the special effects and everything. We're going to grow. We just wanted to be a more professional channel. But the picks were the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Yankees, Atlanta Braves, New York Mets, and the Houston Astros. Sorry if I'm talking kind of fast. I'm trying to work on that. Some people were saying, hey, you got to slow down. It's just I get, kind of passionate about sports. Now you know I really live this. You see, it's not just on the wall. It's not just on me. It's in me. Because sometimes I use my notes, sometimes I don't. I just come off the top of the dome. But again, let's light this fire for Miami and Florida. Let's light this fire. We want this rivalry back every year. Gainesville, Miami Gardens, we don't care if they go play in the middle of the ocean. We need to see it because somebody talking about Miami and Florida is a bigger rivalry than Miami and Florida State. Well, then why they ducking them? Why they only play once every 5 years? Why Miami got to meet them in a bowl game? No, let's play every year so the recruits can see who's the better program. So I see we got viewers just popped up in the chat. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting. This is gonna be the end of the show, so you can just watch it back. This has been a great show. This is Ty Sports Picks 24. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Don't forget to donate to the channel. The Cash App is at the bottom. We're trying to grow, and hopefully we get 100,000 followers, and it grows to 1 million followers, and we can just take it all the way to the moon, baby. Thank you. Put your picks in. I'll see you tomorrow.